Welcome back to Retroactive, everyone. My name's Andrew. We got another great show for you today. We're going to be talking Dune Part 2 and a whole bunch of other stuff. But first, let me introduce my panelists. First, we have, as always, Josh McCoy.
What's going on, man? Happy to be here as always. I got my good old H2O and ready to talk about some Dune.
Is that a Stanley Cup?
It is. It is. It's actually my one, and I didn't buy it. It was gifted to me by my sister. She's like, "Here, you need to drink more water," so she gave me this.
Fair enough. I was gonna be like, he's got the basic bitch cup and everything, but
nope, I didn't buy it. She's like, "You need to drink more water," and they actually work. I'm like, "All right, cool, whatever." It's
fair enough.
I
should probably drink more water.
To me, it's just a cup, but I don't really get the hype.
It's all good. And as well, we have Ashlyn. How you doing, babe?
Good.
She's got the Bucky's cup.
I do. I have the Bucky's cup.
Show off the Bucky's cup then.
Okay.
There we go. We love Bucky's.
Mine.
You know, the funny thing is that thing works too. That was like a $20 cup.
It really does.
And that thing will hold on to ice for like 24 hours.
Mine was cheap for it too because our boss at the bar bought a bunch of these and he's selling them because he got them at like cost.
Mm-hmm.
He's selling them for less than retail. So he's selling his for like $25 to $30.
Oh, wow. Nice.
She got me this for like $25. So.
Yeah. It's crazy to me how much some people will spend on those things, though.
It just makes no sense to me.
Yeah. And there's plenty of knockoff ones that work just as well. You know what I mean? But anyways, enough about the cup craze. Let's jump into our main topic of the day. We're going to be doing a Dune Part 2 spoiler review. Now, again, this is spoiler heavy. The movie's already been out for a couple of weeks, so if you haven't seen it at this point, first of all, what are you doing with your life? And second off...
And did you get the popcorn bucket?
Did you get the popcorn bucket? Yes, exactly. I made sure to buy that. No, I did not.
We should have got it just for the meme for the show.
Yeah.
When I went and watched it, they didn't have it at Cinemark.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure it was AMC specific, if I'm not mistaken. But I didn't see it when we went on. Well, you know, I did see it on opening night.
On
I saw
opening night, they had it because somebody in the theater had it. So.
We could have got tabs on it and just had it for the show.
Right, yeah. I didn't want to spend that kind of money on something that phallic. Anyway.
Was it like $30?
Yeah, something like that. It's like 30 plus or something like that. It's not the worst price, but for something that's like a gag, But anyway, so again, this is a spoiler heavy conversation because like, how do you talk about this movie without talking spoilers? But now Josh is newer to the Dune franchise. He recently revisited the first one before jumping into the sequel. So Josh, I kind of want to start with you and hear your thoughts on Part 2. Go ahead.
First off, I fell asleep the first time I watched Part 1, which, funny enough, I hear a lot of people say that same thing.
You're not the only person I've heard that from.
I didn't fall asleep because I was bored. It was a slow burn of a movie, but I watched it late at night and I was like tired. That was the main thing. But I finally rewatched it and then I immediately messaged saying how great it was. It is a very slow burn of a movie, especially compared to the second one. But if you are really, really big on story and aren't one of those people that have to have like a lot of action in your face, then I think you'll still really like the first one. But I love the second one. I love that it picks up immediately after the first one. So it feels like one giant long movie. And then the entire time I was watching it, I just kept thinking, and I'm not even the biggest fan, like especially compared to you guys, of how much it resembles Star Wars. And I know that Star Wars took a lot of their notes from Dune. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, Timothy's character is just basically Anakin, like the entire time. And then there's that one scene where he's walking across the desert and he has like the cloak on.
Yeah, the black cloak.
Yeah, I'm like, this is like screaming Anakin. And
I felt the same way. I looked at Andrew today when we rewatched it and I was like, he's getting his Anakin on. He's like very much.
But now, like I said, I think it's interesting that Star Wars got a lot of their stuff from Dune because you would think it'd be the other way around. But I think it was great. Josh Brolin, a much better performance, which he did a good performance in the other one. But everybody thought he died. I'm glad that they kept him around. He did our girl Zendaya's. He did Zendaya's characters wrong. Let's just talk about that.
Chani,
yeah, he completely did her dirty. I heard there's some like people complaining about her character and stuff. I think Zendaya did a fantastic job.
Yeah. Well, I think it's probably two different camps. There's probably some people that don't like the direction they're taking if they know the source material because it's very different from the book. this whole series of movies is kind of a departure from the sorry, I got some weird feedback there. A bit of a departure from the novel itself overall.
So he's not going to turn into that giant worm thing. My friend sent me a picture. He's like, "This is what his character eventually turns into."
I heard something about that, but that's apparently some sort of deep, like down the line type of thing within the original novels. Like because it's, I think there's, I forget how many original novels that I think it's Frank Herbert. I was gonna say Brian, but that's his son. Frank Herbert originally wrote. I can't remember if it's like 4 or 6 novels that he wrote. And by the time you get to the end, it's just very weird and a little convoluted. And
I don't think they'll go that route with it. When I saw them, but,
no. And I'm just saying from the original novel of Dune itself, it's already a departure in the way that they're telling the story and some of the things they're leaving out. Some of the things are changing, but for the most part, it's for the better. They're leaving out, they're cutting, trimming some of the fat. They're focusing on characters that need to be focused on, cutting out some things that don't really need to be addressed.
I was his mother on this one. Like she had a good role in the first one, but like she was the Reverend Mother.
Yeah,
she was very prevalent in this one.
Oh yeah, she gets dark, man.
Voice in his ear. I thought it was crazy that the Anna Taylor-Joy scene, that was like 2 seconds. I thought she was so that's his sister in the future, right?
Correct.
That's kind of what I gathered from it. But that means I'm assuming she'll have a more prominent role in the third one. But I heard the director say the same thing about Florence Pugh. He told her she's getting the same treatment Zendaya did in the first one, how she was just kind of briefly there, and then the second one's mainly her movie. Introducing this one, and then so the third movie is going to be Florence Pugh's movie.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of different things. So just to kind of touch on like some of the major differences between the book and the movie itself. Chani is not against Paul at all with anything that he decides to do in the book. It's a book of its time because it was written in the 1950s. So even though it's sci-fi, you still have some of those typical like, husband-wife tropes that bleed into the novel itself, where she's just kind of like that adherent wife type of thing and like not opposing to him at all.
I thought it was 1965.
Was it 60s?
60s, yeah.
It's 50s or 60s. It's probably the 60s that the book was written. Regardless, same thing. As far as like for the time it was written, the person writing it, all that kind of stuff. So that kind of stuff bleeds into, those lines really blur, and so it follows that suit. So I think it was a much better thing for them to, give Chani her own direction, have her be very like against the prophecy, against using her people, because it also sets up a really interesting contrast for the next film, that she could be possibly running some sort of like rebellion against him or something like that. But they still have that love for each other, but like she doesn't agree with who he's becoming and who he just has decided to be and use the people and stuff like that. So that's that's a major plot difference. Another one is the whole Princess Irulan thing with Florence Pugh. It's not too drastically different. He does like marry her at pretty much just on paper, but the difference is he has Chani by his side as like his
concubine.
Concubine, thank you. I can never remember that word.
At the very end, he like broke her heart, and she's like, "I'm out," and she starts
right
on the sandworm.
Exactly. So like that whole thing is a big difference. So that's something that will be another one that will be interesting to see. Like you said, Florence Pugh, I'm sure will have a much bigger role in the third movie. They're saying that it's going to be based off the second novel, well, loosely based off the second novel, Dune Messiah. But essentially what the director has done has created his own version of the Dune universe that he, more or less, that he wants to tell his story in. And while he has the groundwork laid out before him, he's not adhering himself to strictly staying true to the source material. But this is a perfect example of what an adaptation can be. It doesn't have to 100% stick to the source material if you have a good way to tell a story or a better way to tell a story that either is more modernized or that, you know, makes the audience connect more with these characters, because there's, like I said, there's a lot of things in the novels that they focus on, like the you know, if you want to say like the trade, their version of like the Trade Federation that that runs the space travel and the spice distribution and all this kind of stuff, and it's all very political, like, you know, prequel Star Wars era type of thing, and that just bogs down the story too much in this something that you have to tell in a 2.5 hour movie. So I'm glad that they cut all that kind of stuff out. We don't really need to worry about that. We got the Emperor in this one with Christopher Walken.
That was
Obviously,
kind of hard to take seriously, I feel like, with that casting, because all I can think of is like the Adam Sandler movies he did. That's all I could think of the entire time. Like, it's so hard. Like in the first movie, you're hearing about the Emperor. So I'm like thinking we're gonna get like this intimidating dude, and then we got that. And I thought at first the Emperor was gonna. His name's Austin Butler, right? The guy who plays.
Yes.
His character.
The Harkonnen nephew, the Fey Rafa.
Yeah, he was phenomenal. Like, he was a very, very intimidating and scary dude. I'm surprised that they killed him off. I thought they would kind of keep him around for a while, because he really gave Homeboy a run for his money with that fight at the end. I really thought like he was about to win.
Yeah, that choreography and that for that fight sequence at the end was top notch. Like, Ashlyn knows because we just rewatched it today. That part where he does that like spin flip in the air, I was like, holy crap! That was some Ray Park level, like, you know, Darth Maul type shit right there. Like, really going for it.
I'm kind of over, and I feel like a lot of like they do this to him a lot. I'm kind of over, because I think he has a lot of skill, and I think he can do a great job. But I feel like they make Dave Bautista's character is always the butt of the joke. Like, they made him a little bitch in this movie, and I'm like, you know, I feel like he could do a lot more than just be the kind of pushover guy.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from, and I do kind of agree with that. But he wasn't in the first one, in my opinion. But they did it in this one. I think it was to like exemplify. I'm sorry?
He was in the first movie.
No. I didn't say he wasn't. I said they didn't do that to his character in the first movie, is what I was saying, in my opinion. But in this one, they definitely did. But I think that was to try and like over exemplify how much more of a psychopath and like serious threat that Fey Rafa was, as opposed to his character. But unfortunately, because you did that, you like belittled Dave Bautista's
They could have done so much with that fight with him and Josh Brolin. Like, I feel like that was like rushed. Like, he took him out way
too quick. Yeah,
I agree.
That would have been like a cool little nod at like Drax wanting to get revenge on Thanos type thing. Like, they could have like dragged that out and made that a more cinematic type.
I think part of the reason they might have, I agree with you with that. And after seeing a second time, that's probably my biggest gripe, is that was just way too quick. But I think it was also one of those things of exemplifying like that he really, as big of a presence as he is as a person or whatever, he's really not that skilled, and he's really not like, he's just strong, but he's only strong because everyone around him is so much weaker than him, and he just beats up on everybody. He's just a big bully. Like, he's not smart. He's not, you know, that skilled, as I said, and things like that. So that's why every time, you know, shit hits the fan, he's running away. Every single time, even in the first movie, it
adds to them making his character kind of like belittling his character, because I feel like it really gave him the floor. Like, he could have probably made himself as intimidating as Austin Butler's character, but they kind of, to make his character seem more sinister, they could kind of dumb him down. And I felt like there was some nice build up for his character in the first one, and it's kind of like, it kind of felt like that ending with Star Wars, where Rey is handing Luke the lightsaber, and the next movie he literally sees it, he just throws it, and that's what it felt like. I'm like, okay, all that build up just for that. So
let's jump over to Ashlyn here now. Ashlyn, obviously, we just saw it a second time. What are your overall thoughts of this? Is there any particular parts that you'd like to touch on with this movie?
Enjoyed being able to watch it a second time and just get, you know, a refreshed view of everything. Of course, cinematically, it's just so overwhelming and awe-inspiring. It's just such a spectacle. it was cool to pick up right where we left off before, so I really liked that. Um, but like you said, how they kind of trimmed the fat with cutting out a lot of the stuff that was bogged down in the book, I feel like that didn't take away what we got in the movie. Like we got to delve more into the like Bene Gesserit and that type of all the theology and the prophecies and all of that stuff. So I feel like we didn't really lose too much. I think in the third one we'll get to know like the their version of like the Federation, the houses as they call them.
The houses, and I think the organization, if you will, that runs like the trade is, I believe it was called Chome or something like that. I can't remember everything. It's a very dense novel, and I know you and I have had this conversation. It is a super dense novel. It's like 850 pages or something like that. It's a very thick ass book to get through.
So, but, definitely the similarity with Star Wars, borrowing from it, like because when we were in the first one and we're on the planet the Atreides come from, Caladan, is it?
Yep, Caladan. Yep,
Caladan. Yeah. So like that very much reminded me of Alderaan, kind of.
A little bit of Alderaan, and also a little bit of the planet that Luke ends up on in the sequel trilogy.
Yeah. So like it definitely gave me those kind of vibes, especially with like Oscar Isaac's character and everything like that. So like you get the gravitas of like these houses and like what they're setting up with I think it's 12 houses or 10 houses, I don't know, something like that. Like these group of houses and everything, and they're the ones that run everything. So I definitely think we're going to get more of a eyeball into that in the third movie. I think they were kind of setting that up with kind of going deeper into the Harkonnen, deeper into the Bene Gesserit, and the fact that they just have their nasty little fingers in everything and are the ones pulling the strings. So the whole time for me, I was just like, who are these bitches? Who put them in power? Like, why are they the ones getting to say, who gets to live, who gets to die, who gets to be they're the ones pulling all the strings with all the securing of the bloodlines, which is what the woman from it's 007, right?
Yep.
Lady, whatever her name is, did by getting pregnant by the Harkonnen by
Faye
Austin
Rafa.
Faye Rafa, Austin Butler's character. So we haven't seen the last of the Harkonnen. Unfortunately, their line isn't completely dead, kind of like how the Atreides line isn't dead completely because Paul is still alive. So those houses still aren't completely wiped out at this point because that, and I guess Harkonnen's house wouldn't be completely wiped out anyways because we find out about Paul's connection to the Harkonnen and everything.
What did y'all think of that? Because I already knew about that from the book, but what did you guys think of that?
That
was shock.
A cool twist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I'm interested to see how this plays out with Anna Taylor-Joy's character and everything moving forward. I'm definitely interested in Florence Pugh's character because you can see her questioning the head mother or whatever of the Bene Gesserit and being like, she sees them pulling all the strings and you can see that she's not okay with some of it. So it'll be interesting to see how her and Paul work together as like king and queen.
So do you think she'll be a good guy or bad?
I think she's going to be...
Or neutral?
I think she's going to be hindered by the fact that like her training with the Bene Gesserit, but I think that she overall has compassion. And so I think that she's going to lead with her heart with certain things and try to find a way to like find an amicable, like diplomatic ending for everything going on Dune. I just don't know as far as like how far she can go with it because I think she understands the implications of obviously if your entire like ecosystem and all these different planets and all these different houses run on spice, like how do you just shut that down?
See, I got a more sinister vibe from her. I feel like she's going to be a baddie in the next one. Like just, I don't know. I got that vibe from her the other movie.
I mean, I would agree with that. I think that she's going to start off coming off as like, amicable to, the situation, the marriage, if you will, merging the two houses, having Paul become the emperor, so on and so forth. However, I think because of her connection to the Bene Gesserit, she has her own plans. Now, and I do think they're going to be pulling the strings as always, but whether she sticks strictly to their plan or makes up her own, because she seems very intelligent in and of herself, I think she's going to be doing something on the side there to either contradict or overthrow, to bring her family back to power, or maybe just have the Bene Gesserit back in control. You're going to have that plus the love triangle situation between her, Paul, and Shawnee.
Is there a love triangle though? If her feelings aren't into it, like the feelings are just between Paul.
Well, when I say love triangle, I mean more in this, not so much that she has feelings for Paul, more just the fact of like they have this marriage, on paper, and they're together in that sense. And then you have the emotional relationship between Paul and Shawnee. That's more of a real situation. So like where his duty lies versus where his heart lies, that sort of thing. Like that kind of like triad situation. So it's very interesting. Like one of the, and this is something I've talked to Ashlyn about, one of the other biggest changes with the book to movie adaptation is that in the book, there's a big time jump between like each, the book itself is split up into like 3 parts, kind of like how Lord of the Rings is. And there's time jumps in that like him and Shawnee actually have a son. The son ends up dying because of like him trying to take control of, like become the emperor and things like that, ends up dying in this war, in the early parts of the war, before it becomes like the full-blown holy war that they end up talking about at the end of this movie. That gets skipped, obviously, because we don't jump that far ahead. This is pretty much, like you said, a continuation from the point we left off at, from part 1 to part 2. And even in this movie, we only jump forward maybe like 6 months or something like that, because maybe, it's less than 9 because the baby's still in there. So
begin the movie, because I feel like the movie ended because they were still carrying the body of the guy that Paul.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like we picked up exactly where we left off, and then as the movie goes on, we only go forward like somewhere between 6, 7.
Like the time jump was.
No. Yeah, they're clearly carrying the body of Jameis.
Yeah.
Have you guys watched any of like the older Dune, like from back in the day?
No.
I saw clips from it, and when they're fighting, they have like their shields on.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys see what the shields look like in that movie?
No.
This is what it looks like. That's the shields around them when they're fighting. It looks like monsters.
They look like what?
They're acting, and they just have this little effect around them, and they're supposed to be their shield when they're fighting.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like
almost like, dang, that movie for its time, like with the sandworms and stuff, I felt like, that's actually kind of impressive for their time. But then I see stuff like that, I'm like, ooh, that's bad.
What's funny about the sandworms in that version is they're basically the graboids from Tremors. Like
that's what they looked like. Yeah,
it's exactly what they look like with the 3-part opening and everything. Yep. So my guess is that Tremors took that from them, but still, I just thought it was funny because that's all I see.
That image that we have when we brought the trailer or the topic. This scene in particular, did you guys get goosebumps for this scene?
Hold on one second. We got a visitor here.
Like this scene right here, like I don't know, like it felt like one of those like Thor entering Wakanda type scenes. Like,
yeah.
I got goosebumps for that part.
Let's welcome to the panel, Brandon.
Dunacy. I love it. What up?
Now, Brandon, you still haven't seen these movies, right?
Nope. Not yet.
Don't worry. We're close to the end of the conversation, so just bear with us, if you will. But
everyone dies. I get it.
No, but you're right, Josh. This was an epic scene. There's the scene that they show him riding the worm for the first time. I'm a little upset with myself. They had a featurette online that showed that clip, so I saw it before the movie. I wish I could have just experienced it in the theater, because that's how I am. Like I want to see these things on the big screen in the moment. I still got goosebumps watching it, and it's such a great sequence. But I was like, damn, I wish I hadn't spoiled this moment for myself, because it's a big scene that when he rides the worm for the first time. And then, of course, like you said, that part at the end, I remember seeing that in the trailer, and I was like, oh, that's going to be good. And they did not disappoint. That scene is Oh man, this whole movie is beautiful to look at, but there's some of these action sequences in this second part that are just over the top, but like in the best way possible, like out of this world type of visuals. And I can't imagine a better like interpretation, adaptation, whatever you want to call it, of these things, because even before the 1980s version of Dune, the novel itself was almost considered something that was like incapable of being adapted into the live action realm or the big screen or whatever. And there's a lot of things that didn't necessarily work with the original one. And that's some of the things I'm glad they've been able to avoid with this one this time around. There's some people that really like that movie for what it is, and especially for the time period that it was made in. But overall, everyone was like, it was made too early. We weren't there yet, whether it be graphics wise or like, and they stuck way more to the source material, so things were really freaking weird.
We had Patrick Stewart. That's all you need.
But I love what they did with this movie. I'm so happy that the second one's just as good as the first one. I think as of now, I still might like part one just a little bit more, but that's only because it's been a couple years. I've watched it several times at this point, and I've really been able to like grasp everything that movie has to offer for me. I've only seen this one twice now, and that's not to say that I think it's bad or anything like that. They're both amazing, and it's a great continuation from one to the other. It's just I need more time with this movie to get everything out of it that it has to offer for me. So,
well, I think also.
Sorry,
I was just going to say, I think it's also hard because we lost two huge actors from the first to the second one.
Oh yeah,
that is
so
true.
Like we're missing Oscar Isaac, we're missing Jason Momoa actually being serious for once and actually not.
I get it. That's probably part of the books, but I feel like they could have kept them around, especially maybe more so Jason Momoa because like he's so beloved right now. I feel like that was kind of unwise to.
I mean, Leto had to die. Period. Like that is something that cannot be overlooked from the book to the live action adaptation. That's Paul's driving force for this whole thing is revenge for his father and for his house and everything like that. So that part unfortunately could not have changed, but I agree with you. I think that they could have worked around Jason Momoa's character sticking around. I think that's something that they could have changed if they really wanted to, and I don't think there would have been too much of a gripe. However,
maybe they could have done some more like flashback scenes to kind of develop his character to show more time between him and Paul and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. But the one thing that's great about it is his death scene from the first one. That is one of my favorite action sequences in the last few years.
Sorry, Brandon, we're spoiling it all for you. I apologize.
He doesn't care.
You need to watch these movies, man. They're really good.
Well, I don't have to now. I already know the ending.
Well, that's
no, you don't. Yeah, and okay. That's one part of a movie. And essentially when they say part 1 to part 2, they really mean that's how these are. The second one picks up exactly where the first one leaves off. Like almost minute to minute. You know what I mean? Like, so it's such a great thing. We now that Brandon's on the stream, we've already talked about it. We won't spoil any more of like the ending of this film if he ever gets around to watching it. But they do a really good job of ending it without ending it. Because obviously we're clearly getting a part 3 with this. It hasn't officially been greenlit yet, but I know it's going to happen.
The director said he ended this one with, if they really wanted to, they could end it and the story would be fine.
Right.
That's what his goal was. But we all know there's going to be a third one.
As of now, I just saw the report today. It's made 380 million, I think is what, or 370 million worldwide. It needs to make 500 million to be considered completely profitable, because a movie has to make 2.5 times its budget to be profitable because of things like marketing and all that kind of stuff.
Right. We probably wouldn't get the second one or the third one until like 2027, 2028, because he has other movies he has to do prior.
Oh, for sure. And I think it's good to give it some time as well.
The only thing you're going to run into is if they're going to do it exactly how they did this one, where it picks up right at the ending, like these characters are going to age. So you're going to be able to tell it. It's going to have like that Echo effect. You know, like when you're watching the Echo show, they were flashbacks, but like you can tell when reused footage and when it was new footage because she looks
Right.
different.
Yeah, I think depending on how he wants to tell the next story, I think giving it a couple years would be good for the characters. Like, let's not pick up exactly where this one leaves off. Let's, maybe it's a couple years, even if it's only like 2 years as far as their time down the line from where we leave off. Like, it could still be deep in the heart of this war that's starting and everything like that, because this is something that this series that takes place over thousands of years, if you go from front to back of the story of Dune. So, a couple years is nothing. But Josh, overall, what rating would you give this movie?
Ooh, I would give it, because I feel like it's really, really hard to have a perfect film. I would give it like a 9 out of 10.
That's still very high praise.
Just because I had some gripes, like with the whole Dave Bautista thing. But it's very, very few, like far between.
No, I mean, I get it. And like you said, there's really no such thing as a perfect movie. Like, even when I've given, like, and it's happened maybe 2 or 3 times in my life where I've been like, yes, this is a 10 out of 10. I could still technically find something to, whether you want to say complain about it or point out or something like that.
The last movie I gave anything close to a 10, and I think it's more so because it was wrapping up 10 years worth of movies, was probably Infinity War. Like, even more so than Endgame, because Endgame had a lot of plot holes when you really think about it.
Yeah. For me, it was like Logan was one of those movies. That was like a 10 out of 10 for me. Ashlyn, your overall rating for this one?
Probably like that 8.5.
Fair enough. Any final thoughts on this, or just a 8.5?
She hated it.
No.
My house more.
Just because I think I liked the first one just a touch better. Like you said, we're gonna have to sit with it, watch it again. But I do think I liked the first one just a little bit better. So
yeah, I'm with you. I don't think he heard you.
I did not know what.
So what would you give it, Brandon?
TBD.
TBD. Yeah, I think I'm with Ashlyn. It's floating between an 8.5 and a 9 for me. But again, it's going to be one of those, I'm going to watch it again and again type of thing. It's not like an all the time type of watch, but I'm definitely going to. I will. I think I am going to seek out some physical copies of the first and second one, because some crazy stuff's happening with the digital media right now. And
now is the time to get your physical stuff.
Yeah, so. I'm really getting worried, because I have a lot of the stuff bought on digital, but now we're running into problems with them removing stuff, even stuff you've bought in digital format, and that's a real freaking problem. But
if there's a movie I like, it's my favorite. I'll go buy the Steelbook or something.
Yeah.
We have a couple of those, and we used to have. I mean, not so much Steelbooks. We kept all our Steelbooks, but we had a huge collection of movies, like physical media. Like a couple years ago, I think it was upwards of like, what would you say, baby? Like 250 movies or something like that?
Yeah, it's between 250 and 300.
And we've dwindled it down to like less than 50 at this point. But
I know this movie gets a lot of hate, but I don't care. I love it.
Slaughterhouse.
No, I have every special edition of Multiverse of Madness from Walmart, Target, and Best
holy
Buy.
shit, man!
Just because
so you're aware, you don't have to preface that you love this movie every time, or that everyone gives it shit. We know you love this movie, and no one here, as far as I'm aware of, is going to be like, "No, it's the worst movie ever."
No, I love that movie.
We all really like that movie.
Are those still sealed?
Yeah, all my stuff is still sealed, just because like I'm holding on to it.
Good.
So I got like
Good.
The Loki Steelbook, WandaVision, and Spider-Man No Way Home. So I'm trying to keep sealed ones, and I have one open if I want to watch it.
It's a true collector right there.
Yeah, I wish I had jumped on the Dune 1 Steelbook, because
you can
now
get it at Walmart right now.
Really?
Did any of you guys get the popcorn bucket?
No.
we talked about that at the beginning. No, we did not buy that.
Wow, man!
I did see people on opening night.
Call yourself fans. I'm ashamed.
I told Josh I didn't feel like spending like $30+ on something that phallic, but that's just my opinion.
This one. You were a WandaVision fan, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I didn't know that they did steelbooks.
Yeah, they did. They did this one. And
they came out with those recently, and they're releasing some more.
They did Loki.
Yeah,
Oh,
Moon
that's
Knight.
sick.
Moon Knight's coming, and what was it? Captain America: Winter Soldier.
Yeah, I've been looking. It dropped today. I've been looking everywhere. I don't know where they're at.
And then they're also releasing ones for like Obi-Wan and Andor
Mm.
and stuff like that. So I don't know if I'd get Andor, but I'll probably see if I can track down Obi-Wan.
And they
I'd like
did,
to get some of the other ones.
That's sweet.
Mando season 1 and 2 on.
Yeah,
Steel.
things like that, I'm probably going to seek out if I can. So
Yeah, because we bought the 6-movie collection of Mission Impossible, and even emailed Voodoo about it when we noticed it disappeared off our catalog. And they're like, well, send us your proof of purchase. And we're like, well, luckily we had bought it through Amazon, so I actually had a proof of purchase. It's never come back. And we
Yeah.
had 6 movies just disappear.
it was like $20 for the physical copy of all 6 plus the digital ones. But then after a year or two of having the physical one, I was like, I don't need these. I've got them in digital. Now I wish I would have held on to it because it just disappeared off my Voodoo. It's bizarre.
Mm.
I think because Best Buy is officially done with physical media. If you go on their website, all their stuff's like super cheap.
Yeah.
I think Walmart's picking up all the steelbooks and stuff because I've actually found the Loki and WandaVision one at my local Walmart.
And all the 4Ks are getting super cheap now too.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
just don't know. I've been looking all day. I don't know where to get the Falcon and then the.
It's
Moon Knight.
possible that even though they list a certain release date, that it doesn't necessarily always hit where it needs to because maybe they're having trouble with the shipping or whatever. Give it a day or two and see what happens. But all right. Well, now that we've got Brandon on the panel, we're going to move past Dune. But what I would say is, if you are real quick, just one last thing about this movie. If you are curious about Dune, if you maybe visit it the first time like Josh and fell asleep, revisit it. And but definitely see this on a big screen, the biggest screen you can, whether it be IMAX, Dolby, whatever. This is a spectacle of a film that deserves to be seen in theaters. You will not be upset. You will be super happy that you did it. So that's the last thing I'm going to say about it. We're going to move on to some other topics here. Now, a big one that dropped today was the creator of X-Men 97 / one of the producers was actually fired by Marvel Studios as of today.
Axed, in your words.
Yes, I said he got axed with the big X because I wanted to be corny. I don't mean to be a dick to anyone that loses their job, but there's a lot of rumors. There's not an official statement going out, and I'm not here to start rumors. However, his Instagram was immediately deleted when this happened.
Mm.
So you can kind of connect the dots. And now I actually followed him on Instagram, so I can speak a little bit to this. There's some content that he would post on there that wasn't the best when you're connected to Disney and stuff like that. Now, there's something to be said of that a person's personal account is their own thing. However, when you're primarily using said account to promote your new show, something that is done through Disney, Marvel, whatever, but you're then posting things of like where you're damn near nude and stuff like that, whether it be on your stories or your Instagram posts, and still hashtagging X-Men 97 and things like that on it, it's probably not going to work out the best for you. So I'm not saying that is specifically the reason. There could have been something worse. There could have been a whole other situation that has nothing to do with it. I don't know. And like I said, I'm not here to start rumors. That is just what I've seen. There has not been an official statement that has been made from Marvel or from this gentleman as of yet. Ashlyn, now, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think this is going to affect the premiere of X-Men 97, the reception of X-Men 97, or things going forward?
Oof. I mean, the premiere, I think everyone else will probably still show up for the premiere, considering I think it's sometime this week, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're having the premiere this week, and then the first 2 episodes drop next week, I think is what it is.
So, like, I know they do these big red carpet premieres in LA. I mean, we spoke with several of the cast members that are going to be there when we were at Collective Con this weekend in Jacksonville. So we know they're already slated to be there. I don't think that they're going to change their plans over this. I do think it's going to be kind of awkward to have this premiere and your creative director and the creator of this entire series isn't going to be there. So that's definitely going to be a little interesting as far as navigating that. It's tough. I mean, do I think that he should have lost his job over having his own personal account and everything? No. I mean, I don't think, especially if he wasn't hurting anyone, he wasn't doing anything bad. If that's the only reason that they fired him was for having some mildly sexually explicit photos of himself and he's not exploiting anyone, he wasn't, there's no racially motivated stuff, anything that we normally get with these type of scandals. I think that Disney or Marvel kind of might have, you know, shot themselves in the foot a little bit, might have overreacted to it. Yes, I know technically Disney is the parent company of it and everything, and it's going to be on Disney Plus. Do I think he should have been tagging his show with those photos? No, I don't know why he would do that. That's very strange as far as that's concerned, but yeah, no. I think it is a little bit of an overreaction, It's not 100% a marketing to a kid show. It's not like he was the director of Young Jedi Adventures or something where it's explicitly marketed to kids. This show is definitely marketed more towards our generation because we grew up with the original animated series. And so they're banking on us coming back to watch it now as adults with X-Men 97 coming out. So yeah, no, I think there is a little bit of unjustness. I definitely think, I know we've already seen some stuff and some dialogue being thrown around that, Marvel fires gay creator. So I definitely think that's going to stir the pot a little. And I'm sure they're going to be getting their PR team involved to try and be like, it's not because he's gay or whatever. But then again, unless there's something super damning that we don't know about as to why he was fired, and it's just, oh, he took pictures in a mankini, like, oh my goodness, like that's not that bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because the first season's going to drop in a week. They've already been working on season 2. Like, I think they're I want to say they're I don't know I don't want to say that they're done, but they're like in production of season 2, so it was already greenlit for season 2 well before season 1 ever came to fruition. And then there's in talks for a possible season 3, and this is all on the back of this one guy that is the director, and I'm assuming maybe even brought it to Marvel in the first place to do this revival of a series from the 90s. So it's pretty crazy to lose somebody like that. Josh, do you think this is something that they'll be able to move past, kind of like get away from, and still be able to continue telling these stories with characters that, people clearly care about, that sort of thing?
I mean, yeah, I don't think that'll be a problem. I just feel like when it comes to behind the scenes stuff right now, Marvel Studios, Disney, they just can't catch a break, man. There's so much stuff happening with their actors and people. But
Yeah.
I think that's to be expected because now Marvel Studios is such a powerhouse of a studio and they're employing so many people. It's kind of impossible for that not to happen. But it just it feels like with them lately, with this last phase, it's just like there was a Jonathan Major stuff. There's the James Gunn stuff. Like there's always something going on behind the scenes, and it's just like they can't catch a break. I don't know what images you guys are talking about, so I don't know what he posted or anything. But
so, like I said, I don't have specifics, and I would never show anything anyway, even if I did. But I'm just saying, for someone that followed his particular page, there were things that I would see him post that could possibly be seen as like questionable when you're tagging things like the project you're working on and stuff like that. But it is his own personal page, so there's something to be said about that.
And with the way the world is now, I can definitely see people running with the whole what's it called? Running with the story about him firing him because he was gay. I'm like,
that's a clickbait title.
Because Disney in all their movies, like they're so like that's been their main focus for years now is inclusion and that kind of stuff in general. So I don't think that they would fire somebody.
No.
They've been like really putting a big focus on that. So I feel like there's got to be more to it than just the photos. There's probably something really something bad must happen behind the scenes, and
Yeah.
they've been very, very quiet about it. And there's a reason why they've been super quiet about it, and they're probably just trying to do everything behind the scenes because they just had everything with Jonathan Majors. They're like, we don't need anything's coming up.
We probably won't get an official statement until after the release of the premiere episodes, in my opinion. They're going to probably do, I mean, there could be, but I feel like they're probably like trying to like quiet this whole situation as much as they possibly can until that happens. Let the initial episodes run, and then, you know, essentially do damage control as best they can so that it doesn't hurt the viewership of this series first coming out and stuff like that. I mean, this is kind of like what you were saying to the whole like Marvel Studios thing being a powerhouse and like such a, you know, big studio, and then of course under the umbrella of Disney. It's almost like when you're working for these companies, it's almost like being in the political field. You're under a microscope, like more than anyone else. And we live in a world of access to everyone and everything, and nothing is secret and nothing is sacred, if you will. So, and if you're willing to put yourself out there like that on social media, I don't know why your phone always does that.
I don't know.
If you're willing to put yourself out there like that on social media, you do run the risk of these unfortunate situations happening. Brandon, any thoughts on this situation?
I think that it's going to be okay in the long run. Similar to how Josh put it, I do feel though that like what you guys said, it's going to be more of an awkward thing at the premiere. I don't think it's going to, I mean, everything's written right now. Everything's ready to go right now. You know, they're, what'd you say, a week away from the premiere? 2 weeks away? Yeah. It's
the premiere's tomorrow. The Hollywood one, the red
carpet.
carpet.
Yeah, the Hollywood premiere's this week. The premiere on Disney Plus is the 20th.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. So that's, you know, it's already set in stone right now. We're going to see his work, canceled or not. You know, it's gonna be out there for everyone to see. So I'm not so worried about if this had been something that had happened a little bit sooner where it was still in production. I think that would have been a way worse scenario.
Yeah.
You know, just because of like, you know, echoing off of the whole Jonathan Major situation. You know, there's talks of them Xing the entire Kang setup that they've been doing for the last couple of years. And and you know, it sucks to have to go back to the drawing board. I'm sure that's not what they want to do, nor was it what they had planned. But I feel like that with this already being set in motion for this next story for these characters, that they can bounce it off of, you know, however they decide to end this first season back. They can bounce it back off of another creative mind. Will it be just as good? I guess that's what we're going to have to see. But overall, I feel like this could have been a way worse scenario. But it isn't, luckily. As for, you know, the reasons of why he's fired, you know, I'm sure time will tell. And you know, we'll agree or we won't. That's just the, you know, Disney don't care what we think. It is what it is. So,
yep,
you know,
sure.
we'll persevere.
Well, sticking with the Disney theme, but on a much lighter note, we have the new trailer for Inside Out 2 drop, I believe it was last week. And now the first movie was surprisingly like a hit for me. It was one of those, like, it was an interesting concept, but I was like, I don't know if this is one of those things that you can do like a full-length feature thing as opposed to like a short, you know. It seemed like something that probably started as a short, and they're like, no, wait, there's a much longer narrative we can do here. And it worked so well. Especially love the parts when they like jump back and forth between like the parents' heads or the other people's heads, and you see the different versions of the different personalities within these people. Was so great. I do like that we're getting an expansion on the emotions in this one, because that was they clearly were like paying attention to what people were saying, because there was so many people, and this is a little ridiculous if you in my opinion, if you think about it, where I was like, there aren't only 5 emotions or whatever it was. There's like, emotions are much more complicated than that. It's like, no shit, Sherlock. But this is also has to be like something that
Kids
that
movie.
kids or younger audiences can
Yeah.
not just enjoy but
Grasp.
kind of like grasp. So Pixar always does a really good job of hitting every mark of like every age group, but like at the end of the day, you have to make sure that younger audience can at least understand some of what's happening. Like as opposed to like that's why like The Incredibles, when you're a kid, you're like, this is a really cool superhero movie, and you get older and you're like, oh shit, there's like some serious stuff here, like that I did not understand as a child. And that's why, like, when I was a kid, I did not really care for that movie. But as I've gotten older, I think it's much better. Ashlyn, as one of our resident Disney people here, what did you think of the trailer for Inside Out 2?
Definitely like it. I'm excited to see them deal with Riley going into. Is she teenager? Is in like middle school? I think it is.
I don't know if it's. I think she might be reaching high school, but
yeah.
But I'm not 100% sure. She's clearly teenage now, like
Yeah.
going through teenage emotions, puberty, if you will, whatever. You know.
I think my favorite part, and I think you really liked this part of the trailer too, is when she like blows up at her mom, and inside her mom's head, they're just like, "Oh, good luck! Here comes the next like 10 years
Yeah.
that we get to look forward to this." So that was pretty funny. So we're still gonna get that commentary of the inside voices of the parents, it looks like, as well as Riley. And I have to say the new emotions are terrifying. They look like some of the like freaky hockey mascots and things that we have nowadays. So especially like, and I mean, it makes sense for anxiety to be like creepy and like weird looking, but
and that one's played by and I feel bad because I can't remember the actress's name, but the girl from Stranger Things that works at Scoops Ahoy,
Robin.
Mm-hmm. That's the actress that is that's playing anxiety.
That's funny.
Yeah, they've got some good voice cast, just like they did the first time around for this new version. Brandon, did you get a chance to check out the trailer?
Not the trailer, not this one, but I've seen the first teaser that they put out.
One. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I like you, I was not expecting to like it as much as I did when I first watched it years back. But that one I really, really, really love. Like that movie in general, like it's up there for Pixar for me. And I didn't expect it to be that high. So I'm really looking forward to the second one. I like that they're, like Ashlyn said, they're expanding on the emotions. And you know, the first one, it went to a lot of depth, you know, which is what kind of Pixar, I guess, is more or less known for, and just kind of pulling at your heartstrings. But and I know they're going to do it again with this one. I'm just curious on how they're going to do it with this one.
So in this one, Brandon, they go a little bit deeper in, like they expand the console, of course, was like the first thing they did before even the teaser. And then they go into it a little bit more where they show them like, obviously with like the neural pathways and everything with all the memories, there's like, and they are like collapsing the old lands that she had, like the ones that either the new ones that popped up at the end of the movie, all of those are shifting again. So they're going through and like taking out just like whole parts of her personality and stuff and replacing it with new stuff. So it's going to get even deeper, I think, than what we had the first time around.
One of the best lines, I think, from this trailer was so, and you'll see it if you see the trailer, but the new emotions are kind of like trying to take over because they're like much more prevalent in the teenage mind than the basic ones, right? And so they end up like capturing all the original emotions in a jar, and I think it's fear goes, "We're suppressed emotions," and it was just so funny to hear that. Josh, what were your thoughts with this? Have you seen the trailer? Have you not? Or what is your thoughts on the first movie and continuation?
I haven't seen the trailer yet for this one or the teaser. I kind of didn't realize there was a new one coming out. I remember watching the first one years ago, and I thought it was a very, very well written and good Pixar movie, very deep and dark and with a lot of depth. What do you mean? That's what to expect when it comes to dealing with emotions. But I thought big fan of it. Shane and I both really loved it. Little man loves it. Like I said, I didn't realize there was a second one. I'm a little behind when it comes to Pixar. I pretty much know about them whenever my son brings it to my attention. But the first one was great, and I'll most likely end up taking Little Man to see this one in theaters as well.
Well,
Did
if you ever
anyone
want- oh, I'm sorry,
besides, I was going to say, did anyone besides me and Andrew see the short they did years ago called Riley's First Date?
Yeah.
That was funny.
that one was pretty fun. Or like the end of the first one, the girl. And that part always cracks me up. Or if you ever want to make Ashlyn cry, just say, "Take her to the moon for me."
Oh, bing
Or
bong,
bing
bing
bong.
bong.
Poor Bing Bong.
All right, let's keep trucking along. So now there's a lot of stuff. It's been a little bit of a slow week the last 2 weeks. There's more some like random future movie announcements that have been made. I want to just touch on a little bit here and there here. First one was we got a announcement for an official sequel for the Super Mario Brothers movie. That one, I mean, we knew it was coming. This is one of the highest, this is one of the highest grossing films now, like of all time, and it is the highest grossing I'm sorry, I was going to say superhero, highest grossing video game movie of all time. Understandably so. It's super great. We just rewatched it again the other night here, and so I'm really glad that they're moving forward with a sequel. Again, not very surprised. Now,
that Super Smash Bros. Movie. You got Sonic,
right?
you
It's
got
building up to it, man.
Do we
It's
think
building up
is
to
that
it.
what we think? We think we're building
Oh,
up to that?
they have to, like,
100%.
because yeah, they have to. I mean, with what they're doing, they already kind of introduced a lot of the Super Smash characters with Mario,
Mhm.
but there are some adaptations of Smash video games where they have included Sonic as well. I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but it could, and that
But it could.
just that thought alone really makes me excited.
And they're already talking about a Zelda movie, so.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that they are pursuing that. If I'm not,
I think
mistaken.
they are, but I think that one is, as of now,
That
is
one's
just
live
live
action.
action.
Ugh.
I know.
okay with that. I feel like if they that's one of my favorite video game franchise. So if they give it like a Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings type vibe, I think they could pull off a really good adult Zelda TV show.
Yeah, I would rather see it as a series myself, but I honestly, regardless of series or movie, I'd rather it be animated. And it doesn't even, I'm not even saying animated like this, like, and I know a lot of people have said this, but my dream version of Zelda would be Studio Ghibli. Yeah. Studio Ghibli version, animated style. Oh my God, that would just be the most beautiful thing ever. But as far as this movie goes,
the Tom Holland being Link.
They better not, man.
They always do that. Every movie, they're just like, whenever it's a fan casting, they go straight to Tom Holland. Whether it's this, A Journey to Atlantis, same thing, even Treasure Planet. Every time there's any sort of like fan casting for a movie, Tom Holland is thrown in.
You forgot Back to the Future reboot.
Yes, that one too. That one as well. As far as this movie goes, is there anything that you guys are hoping to see, like just more, not necessarily alluding to the Super Smash Brothers thing specifically, but just any sort of things maybe we didn't get in the first one that you hope to see with the Super Mario Brothers movie?
Mario Sunshine.
I was gonna say it, you son of a bitch.
The whole water Mario thing
with the jetpack thing.
God, man,
and everything. Like Mario Sunshine is probably one of my all-time favorite Mario games.
I'd love to see them bounce. Since he stole mine, I'll say that there is a great possibility. I feel like they could do bouncing in between game worlds, such as Galaxy and Odyssey and Sunshine and just all the other adaptations of different worlds. Like a Rick and
Ralph type of vibe to it, where they go to jump to different games.
That would be sick. I don't think they'll do it like that, but it would be cool if they, like, instead of just staying in the Mushroom Kingdom like this one, they were bouncing around, like, somehow where they're adaptating various levels, but in worlds where they have
I know what Ashlyn wants to see.
I was like, are you like in my mind right now? Because I'm like, the way they're talking reminds me of going through the paintings
for the 64 version.
The 64
that
game.
would be sick.
Would you guys want him to stay looking the way he does, or would you want his appearance to change based off the game? So, like, if he went to the original Mario games, if he showed up as the little pixelated.
That one would be funny as a gimmick for the first thing, but I don't think you should do that overall, because then you start bleeding into the whole like Spider-Verse territory.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't really want to do that. And obviously in that, he doesn't change from world to world. It's the other people that are different. So, but I do think doing like a 8-bit or 16-bit, whatever it is, version of him for like a second would be really fun.
Would be funny. Yeah.
No, Ashlyn, I know what version what you would like to see more of in this is Luigi's Mansion.
Yes, I was
Yeah.
gonna say that.
Yeah.
I want to see Luigi's Mansion
Because we got
with the
like
ghost puppies.
we kind of like I thought that they were kind of teasing at it in the first one when he shows up in like that like castle or whatever,
Mhm.
and I'm sure that was maybe like a nod to it, but I'd like to see a little bit more of that. Just
Yeah.
even if it's only like in this version that you guys are talking about where they're jumping from thing to thing, even if it's just for one scene, I'd love to see that.
I can see them doing like a full on movie with that though. I mean,
That could be fun.
given it's right, and
Mhm.
they write a really good script for it because you're kind of in the confines of that concept, but I could see it happening. I'd love to see it happen.
Yeah.
Who would y'all want to see voice Baby Bowser? Would it be Jack Black again, or
Tom Holland, man.
I don't know. I honestly have no idea.
I feel like they would probably just do Jack because he could do so many different voices. I feel like
Yeah,
they would just make
it would
I
probably
feel
just
like
be
it
Jack.
would just
Yeah.
be Jack, which
Yeah.
is totally fine.
I mean, they minimized him. I know he's not baby, but like it's they kind of did that in the first movie anyway. So yeah, it'd probably just be Jack. But yeah, I mean, I think we're all clearly excited for this to happen. I think they've slated it for 2026. Another movie that has just been delayed to 2026 is the Batman 2, the Matt Reeves Batman movie. Unfortunately, got delayed an entire year to 2026 as of now. That was another one of the announcements that came out, I think today or yesterday.
Yeah, it was-
and that's a bummer. I'm looking forward to this. I'm okay with waiting as long as like it's because they need X number of when I say rewrites, I mean like good rewrites. They're like want to make sure it's a solid script, want to make sure it's the right story to tell with this version of Batman. I'm okay with waiting for this kind of stuff personally.
So the story that they were originally doing, Andrew, you said was going to be basically like Hush, right? They were just going back to.
That's the last I heard. I don't know if that's 100% accurate or not. The last I heard, they were wanting to adapt a version of Hush. Yes.
Which is, we were talking is kind of weird because like with the comics, it's the Riddler. So like, and we just had the Riddler. So if they're going back to change that and walk some of that back and maybe do a different character, I'm okay with that.
Well, from my understanding, there is, we haven't read the comic of Hush. We watched the animated adaptation, and I think there might be some differences between the two.
There is
with that, from my understanding, and
Poison Ivy is the big villain in the comic one. Like she possesses Superman and everything.
So I don't know if it's the same setup all the way through, or if it ends up being a different person. I don't know, but that's what I heard. There's also been talk. I mean, I haven't really heard this one much, but I would love to see them do like a Red Hood situation. I know they'd have to really change the story of Red Hood in order to do it. But if they could figure out a way to make it work, I think it would work really well in that world that Matt Reeves has created for this version of Batman. Josh, what are your thoughts on this? Do you have any like expectations or hopes for this new or the second iteration of Batman?
No, I'm sure it's going to be great because I did enjoy the first one. I like the darker tone one, and I think Robert Pattinson did a great job. I just think it's so weird that it's going to come after Superman Legacy, and then like the next thing that James Gunn was talking about is doing other than Peacemaker was the Brave and the Bold.
Yeah,
so we're gonna get the Batman 2, and then we're gonna get the Brave and the Bold. I feel like that's just gonna get very confusing. I feel like they need, like, I know they've said that it's its own Elseworld thing, but the average moviegoer, once they see Superman Legacy, they're gonna be like, okay, everything's rebooting, but then they're gonna see Robert Pattinson, and then like the following year they're gonna see whoever the new Batman is, and I think it's just gonna get weird. I feel like as much as I want to see them continue it, I feel like if he's not going to be the main Batman, I think they should just scrap it and let's just continue with the new guy, or just make Pattinson the new Batman in the new DC universe. That's just my opinion.
Mm-hmm. I just don't think his version of Batman fits with what James Gunn is setting up. Just
we haven't seen what I've.
No, you're right, and you're absolutely right. And they could make it work. I'm not saying it's impossible, but just I'm strictly basing it off of the castings, the different things he has project wise in correlation, because he wants to do kind of a Star Wars situation with this, where everything going forward is connected unless listed as Elseworlds. So there will be animated series. There will be that will transition into live action. There are live action people that will transition into animation, and it's all going to be one cohesive universe with some very strange characters in there, like Creature Commandos is one he's got currently in the works. So I'm
retconning season 1 of Peacemaker. He's saying,
is that it?
Yeah, he's like Peacemaker 1 happened, but it's not canon. And the events season 2, which I'm sure they might call it, they might just say Peacemaker again instead of saying season 2, is gonna take part of whatever happens in the Superman movie. But he said that season 1, he said like a day or two ago that Peacemaker 1 isn't canon.
I don't know. There's just so much.
I'm prepared to be disappointed because DC just can't get their shit together. They can't get it right, whether it's comics, movies, whatever. So I'm just prepared to be disappointed.
They need to do what Marvel's doing right now. They, like I said, as much as I want to see Pattinson keep going because I didn't enjoy his iteration, if he's not going to be the main Batman, they just need to scrap it and focus on whoever's going to be in the Brave and the Bold.
I agree.
And just
I'm not against you on that one. I think that would probably be a safer bet as far as for cohesiveness.
So I'm confused. So the Brave and the Bold they're doing is a live action, I'm assuming?
That's going to be the first Batman movie with the new Batman for the DC universe.
And it's going to be Batman and Robin.
So it's not going to be like how
Damien specifically.
Okay, so it's not the animated series The Brave and the Bold where there's 84 million Batman.
No, it's because that is it's one of the titles for the Batman comics and stuff like that. They're just taking it from that. So that existed long before the animated series.
It's probably not made. All Brave and the Bold. They're getting a lot of their story points from that.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if they called it that. It'll probably just be like, even if it was Batman, the Brave and the Bold, it'd still be a little weird, but it'd have to say Batman specifically.
I think as long as they decide to, if they continue with the Pattinson Batman, with the second movie, as long as they go in the direction that they haven't gone before and explored a character that they haven't explored yet, I feel like it'll do well. They've hit already with Nolan trilogy and all the different various adaptations before that of all the main characters. Why not something that's a little bit more different? The Riddler was good, and doing the adaptation that they did with the Riddler was good, making him a little bit more sadistic rather than funny. But I feel like they could do that with a separate character, or introduce somebody that they haven't really expanded upon yet for other adaptations of Batman, and really
Clayface.
Clayface would be fantastic. Yeah, they haven't
Clayface
done him.
or Mr.
Croc.
Freeze.
Yes.
A good Mr. Freeze, not
that's what I'm saying.
Cool
We got
Mr.
the redemption of Riddler. Let's get a redemption for Mr. Freeze.
And if we're going to get a redemption for Mr. Freeze, I'm sorry, we need a redemption for Poison Ivy because Uma Thurman wasn't it. I'm sorry.
Gotham?
Sorry?
Did y'all ever watch Gotham?
Yes.
We did.
Through.
I watched it all the way through. She did not.
I thought it was a pretty good show.
I did too.
Yeah.
And they had their
terrible
Joker,
ending, but it was good show all the way through.
They had their Joker, they had their Poison Ivy, and they had their Mr. Freeze and Firefly.
They did not have their Joker. They had their Jerome. They weren't allowed to say Joker.
But
they had their Jerome and they had their Jeremiah, but they didn't have Joker.
And, oh my God! Like more, I think they just need to get him to play the freaking Joker. He was so sinister and creepy doing that role.
Fantastic. Or Willem Dafoe. Just saying. I've been screaming it.
Just actually go for it this time.
Go for it.
He commented on that. He's like, I'm glad that everybody compares me to a psychopath or something.
He plays a good one.
He does.
Another bit of superhero movie news, and this one dropped pretty late today. They announced the title for Venom 3. It is Venom 3: The Last Dance. Now I was talking to Ashley. I was talking to Ashlyn about this. I was like, first of all, can we stop using that subtitle because I'm tired of hearing it. The last one was Magic Mike: The Last Dance, and now that's all it's going to stick in my head. But I was talking to Ashlyn about this before the show. I have this sneaking suspicion because they're already so heavily in production into this movie that it could be alluding to we're finishing out the trilogy of Venom movies, but we could also be, maybe scrapping the Sonyverse from this point on. This could be like the end of the Sonyverse, if you will.
Please, for the
Maybe
love of
Madam Web
God.
wrecked them. I've yet to see the movie, but that movie wrecked them. They're
Like with a title like that, there's clearly some work. Like we're going for some more finality type stuff, and in my opinion, and it's a ridiculous title.
it's so stupid. I didn't even know that you just said that. I didn't see that anywhere. I'm like, that is.
I didn't either.
Yeah, it was. I think it was. I saw it from Collider, literally like an hour before we went on.
They should have just called it like Venom along came with Spider, like they teased that or something like that.
Mhm.
Or how about Lethal Protector?
Thank you. Yes.
Why are they like the?
It's Sony.
Yep.
They put out Madam Web. They thought that was gonna be a good take, and
Yeah, I knew you guys would be pissed about this too. So,
no sense.
Like I said, it's a dumb title, but that's why I think that maybe they're going with it is because I feel like it could be the last dance for the Sonyverse, and honestly, I'm kind of okay with it. I really wish that, and I told this to Ashlyn as well. I really wish they would have just kept Tom Hardy's Venom in the MCU when he got pulled over.
He could have done it.
He could have been great. Like he's honestly a great Eddie Brock. I'm a big Tom Hardy fan, but like he's done great as Venom and Eddie Brock. I think
his version of Venom would have fit really well in the MCU.
I got a hot take too. Woody Harrelson as Carnage was fantastic too. It was just the fact that they Sony'd it all up.
Yeah,
that was a great casting.
He fits the character so
yeah.
And they killed him. Why would they kill off Carnage?
Yeah,
he's like one of the biggest Spider-Man villains, and they killed him off.
That, and it's like you really can't, but
you really can't. But
considering he's
dead right now.
And I'm not sure how that worked either. But
yeah.
Anyway, that was the
that
was the last fun bit of tidbit news for today. For that, real quick, I want to touch on the Oscars happened on Sunday night. It was pretty much a sweep for Oppenheimer this year.
That's all I can think of now because of freaking Oscars.
What was it? Oh, the Ken. Yeah. That was pretty great. We didn't watch it live, but we saw a couple recap videos and things like that. Anybody have any thoughts on the award season type stuff, like winners, anything like that?
RDJ finally got his Oscar, well deserved.
Yeah. For sure.
And Godzilla -1 got an Oscar. We live in a day and age that Godzilla won a freaking Oscar.
Yep.
I definitely think RDJ was kind of like a oh gosh.
You gonna say DiCaprio situation?
DiCaprio situation where it was way past overdue for him.
His autographs to me a lot more than $900 now. I'll tell you that.
Oh shit.
Yeah. That's like we have a Brendan Fraser signed Funko that's got to be worth way more now since he won an Oscar last year. Mm-hmm. So, sorry, Brandon, go ahead.
I was gonna say that one thing that kind of surprised me was that Spider-Man across the Spider-Verse did not win.
He's expecting. I heard.
Well, he's always a piece of shit. Sorry, I don't care. Like I don't like Shamik Moore. Nobody likes Shamik Moore. But I will say the movie was one of the best ones that came out that year. And I really enjoyed that movie. But I will say I have never seen Boy and the Blue Heron?
The Boy and the Heron.
The Boy and the Heron. It's now given me a want to watch it just because if something beat that movie, I want to see how good it is.
I wish I had seen it. I kept trying to and it just kept not happening while it was in theaters because
that was a Ghibli film.
It's a Ghibli movie.
It's
that does make me happy that's kind of getting a little bit more recognition in the spotlight. So
yeah, that's the thing is you've got Hayao Miyazaki returning to direct a movie after basically I think close to 20 years at this point. It's definitely over 15, and bringing back like the Studio Ghibli feel and just the studio in general to do a project like this. So it's clearly like artistically driven in multiple ways. Because he always has those, even some of his more lighthearted films still have those underlying more serious themes playing out, or things you have to dive in deeper to understand. So I'm not shocked that he won. I haven't seen the movie yet, so I can't speak on it compared to every other movie that was up for the Oscar. But I'm honestly not shocked that he won, and I'm kind of, like you said, I'm kind of happy that it happened because it'll hopefully make people seek it out more, and it'll maybe have them seek out, if they haven't seen Studio Ghibli films, other Studio Ghibli films, because they deserve like so much. I mean, they get recognition, but they are still, in my opinion, way too underrated for the general audience. So I know, Ashlyn, obviously you're a big fan of Studio Ghibli. We both are. Any particular thoughts of, like, you know, the winners or just the Oscars in general, besides the I'm Just Ken, you know, fantastic performance?
John Cena being naked on stage.
Oh my God, yeah.
Oh my God, I was not prepared for that at all. That was something.
I don't know what y'all saw. I saw a floating card, man. It was really weird. So strange.
Of course, Andrew knows I'm still very upset about Greta Gerwig and
Margot
Robbie both getting snubbed at the Oscars.
For not even a nomination. It's one thing
not
not
even
to
a
win.
Nomination. That's the problem.
It's another thing not to get nominated.
Like, both of them not getting nominated, but the film got nominated. A couple of other things got nominated. Of course, we weren't expecting Barbie to win Best Picture. Like, we're not crazy. Like, it's a great movie, but it definitely...
We said if there was a separate category that wasn't like specifically like Best Picture, like a typical Best Picture is, Barbie could have stood a chance. But in the fact that it was in the main category of Best Picture, it's just not possible. It almost always has to go to a biopic or things of that nature, just by how the Oscars typically is. Unfortunately, that's just how it works.
The movie that got it?
No, Best Picture went to Oppenheimer.
Oh, yeah,
she won for Best Actress, I think is what it was.
Yeah,
in her
she
movie,
won
The
Best
Poor
Lead
Things.
Actress. But
Is what
Margot
that was.
Robbie didn't get a Best Lead nomination at all.
I leaned it was to Oppenheimer because that movie, like, they went back and forth. Like, that movie deserves it. Like, I watched it finally. That movie, that was a great movie, and like they had the whole Barbie thing going on.
I watched it, and I know this isn't really a review time for Oppenheimer, but I will say I saw it the other night, and it was a solid watch. Don't kill me for this. I don't see why the hype was as much as it was. It was very well done.
But I was in the same with you.
Very well done. But if you compare it to something like Inception or any of the other Nolan films, that it's not up there in my top 3. No, it's really good. It's just not up there in my top 3.
Well, it's like I told Andrew, it's very much like a slow burn. Like, it's very slow pace.
Yeah.
Like, it's really good in like
acting
the gravitas.
Notch,
the acting is great, and like the subject matter and the gravitas of it is amazing. The effects were amazing, but it's just kind of a boring story.
Well, it's kind of like, Josh, with what you said about with like Dune and stuff like that being a slow burn. I make the joke that Dune is the thinking man's Star Wars, because it's a much more in-depth intellectual like version of a Star Wars story type of thing. And then when you get into things like this, it's a slow burn drama biopic type of thing, and you're literally building up to the explosion, but you have to wait you can't, for lack of a better term, blow your load in the first 30 minutes of the movie with that, because that's the whole point of this is telling the story of how it came to be. But with that being said, the drama side of things can get a little bit daunting. I'm sorry, Josh, please continue.
I'm so sorry. I was shocked to see Josh Peck in this movie. It was for like 5 minutes, but I'm like, that's really random that Josh Peck made this movie.
Dude, he can say he was in a Nolan film, so he's like, screw everything else.
I agree with you 100%. I didn't understand the hype either. I more so met Elite because they had that craze going on, like the whole Barbieheimer thing. Like, well, I think Elite went to, because of that, Elite went to Oppenheimer, and like, I don't know if I make any sense, but I agree. The movie itself, I don't understand the crazy hype behind it either. It's no Interstellar. I still think Interstellar is probably my favorite Nolan film.
Absolutely, hands down.
We need to rewatch that.
I think Inception is my top one personally.
You need to watch Interstellar.
I've seen it.
We've seen it. We just haven't seen it in a long time.
I rewatched it, and like I'm a huge fanboy for the Marvel stuff, but that passed a bunch of Marvel movies for me.
Me too.
Like that movie is like chef's kiss. It's really good.
100%.
Well, before we wrap up things, I did kind of want to just take a couple minutes here and do a quick show and tell. People have some stuff that they want to show off. Josh, I know you've got a new piece, or is there something else that maybe you wanted to show off?
I got a few things. I got this really cool new Pokemon statue.
Very colorful.
It's which I could bring the.
Well, I was gonna say that, or make yourself big screen.
It's portable, so. Yeah, this really, really cool Groudon, Rayquaza, and Kyogre statue. It was a late Christmas present from my lovely fiance. She also got me the cool Gengar for my birthday. But then the Hot Toys Dead Strange from Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah,
thing
That's
is
sick.
That thing was really cool. Yeah.
And I have the Scarlet Witch on the way, and I'm gonna pair them both together. And I'm super excited. But yeah, other than that, this guy it lights up, but it's the adapter's way down there, and it'd be a hassle to light up. But
it's all good.
But yeah, my Pokemon little shelf with Doctor Strange is coming along quite nice.
Brandon, you got anything for us?
I got 3 Funkos. This one just actually came in today. So this is my 9th Attack on Titan pop, signed by Matthew Mercer. I was signed at Emerald City this past 2 weekends ago, I think. And it just arrived at my work today. So this one's one of the harder ones to get. He's a kind of recluse when it comes to doing conventions. And when he does, it's the entire Critical Role cast that goes. So you got to get a con where it's the entire Critical Role cast, or you're probably not going to get Matthew Mercer.
Yeah, they announced them for
SuperCon.
SuperCon. Okay, yeah. I was like, I knew it was one of them.
If it's a Reed Pop event, that's the only ones that they're doing so far that I believe, at least. So I don't know if it's worth the drive to Miami, because I hate Miami and I hate the traffic. But I might do it just because Ashley Johnson's on there. She's Ellie in The Last of Us.
Yeah, so I might give you because I was gonna go, but then I realized I'm actually gonna
hold on, buddy. I just said I hate Miami. So let me think that one over first.
If you don't go, I'm gonna send it in regardless because
it's okay. We'll talk after. I know some people who are going to so that's the first one, and then I got this
hold the
one.
Phone.
Yeah.
No.
Look, I was gonna go, but I'm actually gonna be in Missouri for that statue con thing.
I might. So but regards to the Attack on Titan, that's my 9th Attack on Titan pop. I'm trying to go for as much as the whole cast as I can on the original pop. So
you're going with like my Star Wars level on that one.
Yeah, but it's because they're all doing events. So with the exception of like one, but yeah. So that's the first one. The second one, I got Elijah Wood added to my Spyro pop. I got 2 more voice actors to go, but that will be another work in progress for another day. And then this one I've been waiting a couple months for, but I've got 2 of them. I'm keeping one. And yeah, I never thought I would hold one of these, let alone own one, but it's a Nicolas Cage signed Ghost Rider pop, original Ghost Rider.
Holy cow, that's cool.
This was the second print 2014 edition. So yeah, I never thought Nicolas Cage would ever do a signing, so I did not pass that up.
Wasn't he just on Twin City?
That's where it's from.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Twin Cities actually partnered with I think it was Celebrity Authentics, or I might be butchering that, I don't know. But they partnered up with them, and I was seeing like the posts from people in my group that are just like all of their Nicolas Cage stuff, the noir pops, the Spider-Man noirs. I was seeing those come through. I saw a few Ghost Rider pops, and then I saw someone had the Declaration of Independence signed, because why the hell not? And dead serious, that was a thing. Someone actually did that. So I was sitting there like, why is my thing not sending? Turns out it was because I sent to Twin Cities, and they were the partner, so they were waiting to get the items back from Celebrity Authentics to then ship to all of us. So I got the second batch, but I'm happy. I'm okay with how it came out. It's not, it's not the most exciting signature in the world. He literally printed his name and missed a couple letters, but it's It is what it is.
It's like when I got my Amy Jo Johnson signature.
Yeah,
It's morphed him.
like this was one of the pops that I would see it like on Funko and just be like, that would be cool to get signed. I'll never get it signed, and now I'm holding it. It's like it's just
So cool.
that's one of those once in a lifetime pieces
For sure.
that I never thought I'd ever own. So that's really a big crown jewel in my collection right now. So
That's awesome.
Twin City needs to hurry up with the whole Bradley Cooper one. I need my Rocket signature.
yeah, that's been pushed back a lot, man. I don't know what's going on with that. So
Ashlyn,
Eventually.
you got some? I'm sorry. Yeah,
Go ahead.
Ashlyn, you got something for us?
Yeah, sure. So we got
Okay,
this
go.
back a while ago at MegaCon. It's Paige O'Hara signed on my Belle Princess Pop. It says A Tale as Old as Time. She did her name, her character name. So that was really cool being able to meet her. Ultimate fangirl moment for me. Belle's my favorite princess. So really loved that.
she's super sweet.
She is super sweet. My other thing that we got at this year's MegaCon, and one of my favorite artists, your girlfriend picked up a couple of things from her, Brandon. It's Megan Wifey.
Mhm.
This is her new Mulan piece. She does amazing work. She is on all the socials. Pretty sure she has her own online shop. I'm sure Andrew will tag her later in the show.
Yep.
But yep, she's one of my favorite artists, especially for Disney stuff. So I have quite a few pieces of her stuff around.
You can't forget the Bucky's Cup.
Oh my gosh, Josh. Okay, just
I
for
mean,
you.
with
The
going to
Buc-ee's.
Collective Con, we had to stop at Buc-ee's. We stopped there on the way back because you have to. It's Buc-ee's.
You have to.
How
You're
was
on-
the Daytona Bike Fest traffic though, my guy?
Oh man, not
We didn't know we were going to be in it.
We didn't either. I didn't either. It sucked.
we ended
2
up
hours up, 4 hours back.
Oh no, it wasn't that
Ooh,
bad for us.
no.
We,
Awful.
that was the one thing is we were like catching everyone leaving Daytona. Is what it seemed
Man.
like, and we did have to get off of 95 for a few miles because of a bad accident and stuff like that. So it took us a good over 2.5 hours to get there, but the
Yeah.
drive home was relatively easy, other than the fact that we were exhausted and we took a nap on the way home because we were running on like 4 hours sleep. But Collective Con was great, and that's actually good segue into my stuff here. Now, you obviously all of you have seen this, but for those at home, this is a really good one that I got signed from Elijah Wood, and I think it's Trisha Herbert. I don't know. I can't remember her last name. I feel bad, but
Heller. Trisha
Heller.
Heller.
Thank you. The specialty Tron piece, I think it was CB Collectibles is who makes this piece. They were
free DLC.
I was way off.
Yep.
Thank you for your help with that.
You're welcome.
They were
the
really
pens came
excited.
out really well on that.
Yeah. Thanks to you
really
guys for your suggestion, because I was really torn on what piece to go with. The white came out really, really well on this.
You should have done Lord of the Rings for Toy Quest as like the joke. Hey, not only did I finally watch Lord of the Rings, I got his autograph.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Ashlyn decided to tell him that I hadn't
I did.
watched
No.
Lord of the Rings up until this year or this last year. For some freaking reason, I was already like, that was one of those that like I wasn't. Like I said, I never really get super nervous with people, but there's just some where I just feel kind of awkward talking to them in a sense. You know what I mean? And even though there was no one in line for him, which I was telling Josh about, which is kind of crazy, I still don't like taking too much of their time. There's still so many times with these higher level actors that I just kind of want to get my stuff and go, like, get out of their way. They've got enough going on, even if there isn't a massive line or something like that. I don't like being that person that takes too much time with people. But I did tell him that I really, really loved this series. It's Tron Uprising is why I got their autographs. They
And
both
he was
really
really
liked it.
excited. Yeah.
Yeah, you could see the like recognition on his face. He's like, "Oh crap, it's a Tron piece!" Like you clearly, like, no one ever does this because it's more of an obscure series and things like that. So, and he thought the piece was really cool, and so did she. And
He
especially for
was
her.
super nice.
Yeah, they were both very, very nice. It was a very great experience. The other one that I got here, now I started this at MegaCon, but got even more, is my X-Men piece here from Faux Video. Now, the coolest part for this, so I added 4 new signatures. I got Ross Marquade. Is that how you say his name?
Marquand.
Marquand. I can never
Yeah.
pronounce it right. Ray Chase for Cyclops. So Ross is Professor X now. Ray Chase is Cyclops. And then I got the original Mr. Sinister and Nightcrawler down here, all at Collective Con. But the coolest part for me, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I just said hell yeah.
Oh, okay. The coolest part for me was when we showed Ross this piece, he lost his mind. And I was telling Josh this before the show, he lost his ever-loving mind, man. Like, when I tell you, he was freaking out. He asked me to take a photo of him with the piece and everything like that. And he was the first one of the day for the X-Men crew that we got the signature. But obviously, there's already 6 other autographs on there from the original crew and everything like that. But he just thought it was the coolest thing ever. We talked to him for a good, 20 minutes, just geeking out about X-Men stuff and just, nerdy stuff in general. And he's one of the nicest dudes I think I've ever met. And that is saying something, because we've been very fortunate with most of the people we've met, if not almost everybody we've met. But I'd say he's probably top 3 of the nicest people we've talked to at these conventions. And so if you ever run into him at a con, for anyone out there, he's done Walking Dead. This is now his 4th Marvel character he's going to be voicing. For those that may not know, he was the replacement for Red Skull in Infinity War and Endgame when they had to recast. And he's done now 3 other Marvel characters. I'm not sure the specifics on the other 2.
Infinity Ultron.
That's what it was.
What If.
Yeah. And then, of course, I'm sure he did Red Skull for that.
Yeah.
Yep, that's him.
And yeah, he was the Stonekeeper in Endgame.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, you would know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, I know he was in Endgame. He was the Red Skull in Endgame for the Soul Stone, but I didn't realize he did. I know he was in What If too.
He was the voice of Infinity. I guess Ultron in general. He was Ultron, Infinity Ultron, whatever.
Yeah,
but I was gonna chime in and say I've met that dude 6 or 7 times now. He recognizes me. He knows me by name. It is the weirdest thing, but he is the best freaking guy in the world. To the point where this past weekend, I gave him my number and told him to call me, because last week when I saw him at House of Mouse, he had told me he's never been to Legoland.
Oh, the Legoland thing, yeah.
I was like, dude, I got so many friends that work there and they never use their tickets. So I went up to his table. I was like, hey, he's like, dude, yeah, what's up, man? How you doing? I was like, hey, I'm not gonna get anything today. I just want to give you my number. And he's like, oh, and I was like, no, you want to go to Legoland, right? He's like, oh, that's right. So I was like, have your agent or whoever shoot me a text, and I'll make sure you guys get in. And he's like, well, I don't know when we're gonna be. I was like, it doesn't matter. Just give me a call. Have someone call me, and we'll make sure you guys get in.
Yeah, I thought about getting
the sweetest
his
guy.
autograph last week at House of Mouse, but I was like, he's going to be there with the rest of the X-Men people for Collective, and I was like, it's just better if I just do it all at once. And I'm really glad I did, because we talked to him when I first got the autograph, and then once I got everybody's autograph that I needed, circled back around so he could check it out, with the finished product and everything like that. And he's such a genuine person and such a genuine fan. He's a
nerd. He's just a big nerd, and he loves these things, man. This is his life. It's so great.
He's so honored to be a part of this series. We don't know to what capacity, because at the for those that may not know, at the end of the original series, Professor X passes away, but I'm assuming he either is showing up in flashbacks in this, or he might be getting resurrected. I mean, it happens all the time in comics. Yeah. So we don't know to what extent he's playing Professor X in this new series, but even if it was for one scene, he is so excited to be a part of it. He's going to the premiere this week, and so he's going to be seeing everybody there. And
it was really cool when we were at Collective, because is it Lorna or Lauren?
I think it's Lorne.
Lorne.
Yeah, the voice actress of Rogue.
Of Rogue, yeah. She's she invited him out to dinner while they were there so that he got to go to dinner with some of the original voice cast. And she told him while they were at dinner that she's like, you're an X-Man now, you're one of us. And she was like literally almost tearing up. It was so sweet. And it was funny because we were waiting for Nightcrawler to come back to the table, and they're like, oh, he's over talking to Ross. And she's like, well, go get him. Like, it was so funny. She's like, tell him he's got people here waiting to sign this thing. And it was just so funny.
Yeah, because she remembered us
is.
from MegaCon because of the piece and everything like that, because it's a pretty distinct piece of artwork. And Ray Chase was really nice too. We didn't talk to him super long because he had a decent line because of all his anime stuff. But he was excited about the piece. As people were like being like, "Oh my god, this thing is crazy," and he was super nice as well. And I was kind of telling him like we'd been doing the original cast in black. I decided to do the new crew in white so we can kind of differentiate. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I totally get that. That's awesome." And hopefully I'll be able to add some more as we go on. Biggest one that I just really need to get is Cal Dodd for Wolverine. If I can't get anybody else past that point, I will feel more than accomplished for this piece. Hopefully, fingers crossed, I can get that done over the course of this next year or something like that.
I can definitely help you out with that one because he knows the guy and talks to him.
Yeah, I'm going to talk to Miguel about it for sure if I can't find another way to do it. But all right, guys. Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say one more thing just because we were talking about good interactions. So one other person, and I've met a bunch of people. I met a bunch of actors, voice actors, and all that. And my top 5 I feel like is always changing, but one absolutely shot through the top 5 this weekend. Did you guys get to meet Sean Astin?
No.
Severely missed out. Dude,
yeah, I've heard great things about him.
Go meet that man, because like when he is not rushed and he will take his time with you and talk to you, man. He about made me fucking cry, man. He's just the most down to earth human being, like, that just wants to get to know people, and like he loves it. He spends time with you, and like Ross is in my top 5, Frank Welker's in my top 5, and Sean Astin just shot his way to the top for me too.
That's awesome. He was the one person there that had a line the entire time.
It's because he's so much, and people don't realize, like, he's like how we were talking about Alan Tudyk, man. I didn't realize how much that man did and why his line was that long, but Sean Astin has just as long of a IMDb list.
He voiced a Ninja Turtle at one point.
Yeah, dude. He's been in so many franchises that so many people would know. They know him from like Lord of the Rings, and this generation's
Bob.
Bob. This generation's going to get their Stranger Things stuff signed. But of course, you're never gonna surpass the Lord of the Rings hype. That's just That's
and Goonies.
Goonies too, man. So
he's got
3 generations of big good roles and big franchises at his belt, plus all the sides character stuff too he's done. So, but all of that just to say, like, I love it when so many of these big actors don't get an ego like you would think they do, and they just want to meet you. They want to spend time with you, and like, if for them, it's very easy to just sign a piece and go. But when you take the time just to compliment somebody, or they take the time to compliment somebody, and really get to know them, it takes it to a whole new level. So
let me do one last lightning round question for everybody. Just, you get one answer for this. Is there a person that you either still really want to meet or get an autograph for? One person that you haven't gotten yet. And like I said, it can be even if you have an autograph but you didn't meet the person because it was you send in, whatever the case is, or you want an autograph for. Josh, I'm gonna start with you. I think I know the answer, but
God damn it.
Chris Evans.
Yep, I pretty much knew that one.
Make me go last, dude. I gotta have. I'm still ordering.
He's like, let me check my list.
I gotta check the menu, bro,
of what's coming to me.
If not Chris Evans, and I feel like Robert Downey Jr. is a typical one because I think everyone wants to meet that man. But if it wasn't Chris Evans, definitely Tom Holland, but more so Chris Evans.
Ashlyn, how about you?
No, you go. I'm still tallying. I don't know.
We're still looking at the menu.
I think I know what yours. I think I know what yours should be, in my opinion.
Who should mine? Oh yeah. I was trying to think.
If not her, the girl from The Mummy.
Oh yeah, for like animated Tiana. See, like, I need you because I can't think. Like,
Well, I did it for you. You're welcome.
well, I mean, because my thing is I got to meet my childhood hero. So, like, I got to meet Batman. So for me, like, getting to meet Kevin Conroy, like, I got to do my Grail. Like, so I lucked out with that
So
one.
everything past this point is just, icing on the cake, basically.
I mean, basically, yeah, I had him and then Brendan Fraser. Like, those were the two bigs that I absolutely like had to meet. And
Oh, I
I
know.
got to meet
I'm just
both
trying
of
to
them.
wish list for down the road type of thing.
Wish list, yes. If Tiana would ever show up somewhere, I need her.
She's going to be in Raleigh apparently for GalaxyCon.
Yeah, she is.
So we'll look into that. But Brandon, do you have one?
I have a lot. I'm gonna have to break this into two separate things because it's like I have autographs of two of the people I would really like to meet, being Patrick Stewart and Dick Van Dyke. But I would for an autograph I would love to own one day. It's absolutely a grail piece. I'm probably gonna get laughed at for this just because I know how expensive it is. But I eventually want to get into historical autographs, and owning a PSA slabbed George Washington cut would be the pinnacle. I've been like, I'll make it. I made it.
Holy shit.
But I've looked and some gone for 15,000, and it's a huge goal, but I doubt I'll get to it anytime soon. But if I ever hold that in my hands as the owner of it, I'll be like, yep, I made it. But, but someone that I'd like to meet, probably Patrick Stewart, or like I said, Dick Van Dyke, which
we're running out of time on that one.
We're running out of time on that one, I know.
Yeah.
But that's just there's not another person from Disney or just feature film that has accomplished what that man has accomplished.
And
in the
he's
industry.
so humble.
So humble. So
such a sweet guy.
He's one of those people I'd love to just sit down and pick his brain. But
right?
That's on borrowed time, I know. So.
I think for me, I've been very, very fortunate in the last few years to meet a lot of people that I thought I'd never meet. And some autographs from people that I again never thought I'd have that. I feel very fortunate to, and I know a lot of people met this man, but I feel very fortunate to have 3 different signed pieces by Jason David Frank. He was my childhood hero. He's still my hero to this day. But taking all that into consideration, I think the thing I'm probably most focused on right now as my future grail right now is Jeff Bridges. If I could get Jeff Bridges' signature for like my Tron piece. And I'd like to get the actor who played Tron as well. I just can't remember his name right now. But Jeff Bridges for sure. He is like right now that's the one that sticks in my head of people I don't have. So if I can get that one, I'll feel very accomplished. So all right. Well, I think we've had a long enough show today. Running a little long, but we had a good time, I think. So real quick before we wrap everything up, Josh, where can the people find you?
Find me over at McCoy Culture on Instagram and YouTube, and then every Friday night with Andrew, of course, on Toy Quest 101.
Very nice. Brandon, how about you?
ventureauthentics on all platforms.
And Ashlyn?
Bookbrat90 on all platforms.
And you can find me at pretty much all social media at Andrew is Losing. Also, be sure to follow the Retroactive page. It's Retroactive POD. On Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all that good stuff. Be sure to like and subscribe to this video so you guys can stay up to date with everything we have going on. Well, guys, until next time, we will see you.